Hey guys, we're going to finish chapter 4 of Old Yeller. All right, so here we go. I stuck my head out the door. The bulls had fought away from the house, and now they were busy tearing down more of the yard fence. I ducked out and around the corner, and I ran through the dog run toward the back of the house, calling, "Here, Yeller! Here, Yeller! Get 'em, boys! Sick 'em!" Old Yeller was back there all right, but he didn't come and didn't sick 'em. He took one look at me running toward him with the bullwhip in my hand and knew I'd come to kill him. He tucked his hand and lit out in a yelling run for the woods. If there had been any way I could have done it, right then is when I would have killed him. But there wasn't time to mess with the fool dog. I had to do something about those bulls. They were wrecking the place, and I had to stop it. Papa had left me to look after things while he was gone, and I wasn't about to let two mad bulls tear up everything we had. I ran up to the bulls and went to work with them with a whip. It was a heavy 16-footer, and I'd practiced it a lot. I could rack that rawhide popper louder than a gunshot. I could cut a branch as thick as my little finger off a green mesquite with it. But I couldn't stop those bulls from fighting. They were too mad. They were hurting too much already. I might as well have been spitting on them. I yelled and whipped them till I gave clear out. Still, they went right on with their roaring, bloody battle. I guess they would have kept on fighting till they leveled the house to the ground if it hadn't been for a freak accident. We had a heavy two-wheeled Mexican cart that Papa used for hauling wood and hay. It happened to be standing out in front of the house, right where the ground broke away in a sharp slant toward the springing creek. It had just come to me that I could get my gun and shoot the bulls when Congo crowded Roni up against the cart. He ran that long single horn clear under Roni's belly, and now he gave such a big heave that he lifted Roni's feet clear off the ground and rolled him in the air. A second later, Roni landed flat on his back inside of the bed of that dump cart, with all 4 feet sticking up. I thought his weight would break the cart to pieces, but I was wrong. The cart was stronger than I'd thought. All the bull's weight did was tilt it so that the wheels started rolling, and away the cart went down the hill, carrying Roni with it. When that happened, Chongo was suddenly the silliest looking bull you'd ever saw. He stood with his tail up and his head high, staring after the runaway cart. He couldn't for the life of him figure out what he'd done with the roan bull. The rolling cart rattled and banged and careened its way down the slope till it was right beside the spring. There, one wheel struck a big boulder, bouncing the side of the cart so high that it turned over and skidded to the top. The roan bull spilled right into the spring. Water flew in all directions, and Roni got his feet under him. He scrambled up out of the hole, but I guess that cart ride and sudden wetting had taken all the fight out of him. Anyhow, he headed for the timber, running with his tail tucked. Water streamed down out of his hair, leaving a dark, wet trail in the dry dust to show which way he'd gone. Chongo saw Roni then. He snorted and went after him. But when he got to the cart, he slid to a sudden stop. The cart, lying on its side now, still had that top wheel spinning around and around. Chongo had never seen anything like that. He stood and stared at the spinning wheel, but he couldn't understand it. He lifted his nose up close to smell it, and finally he reached out a long tongue to lick and taste it. That was a bad mistake. I guess the iron tire on the spinning wheel was roughed up pretty bad and maybe had chips of broken rock and gravel stuck to it. Anyhow, the way Chongo acted, it must have scraped all the hide off of his tongue. Chongo bawled and went running backward. He whirled away so fast that he lost his footing and fell down. He came to his feet and took out in the opposite direction from the roan bull. He ran, slinging his head and flopping his tongue around, bawling like he'd stuck it into a bear trap. He ran with his tail clamped just as tight as the roan bull's. It was enough to make you laugh your head off, the way the both of those bad bulls had gotten the wit scared clear out of them, each one thinking he'd lost the fight. But they sure had made a wreck of the yard fence. And that was chapter 4, guys. We'll start chapter 5 on Monday.